Hello everybody, today I'm going to be showing you and also walking you through how the Lego Technic Bugatti Chiron works. So, as you see, this is the Lego Technic Bugatti Chiron, and I got it 2 weeks ago. It was very nice, 3,599 pieces, and yeah. So, I'm basically going to show you how this thing works in 4 parts. It's going to be the gear selector, the transmission, the all-wheel drive system, and the suspension. Okay guys, so as you can see, the gear selector is right up here, and it's actually, as you see, when I move it, it pushes this drive ring, this black drive ring. Yeah, it's there. So as you can see, in neutral, when the wheels move, notice the white gear right here, right below my finger. It doesn't move when I drive the wheels, but the other gears do. Now, what happens when I put this thing in reverse? When I do that, as you can see, this drive ring, it actually connects with the red gear. The red gear has like lines or whatever, clutch lines or something, I don't know. But when I engage this gear selector to the rear, when I move the whole thing, this time, it also moves the drive ring, which is connected to this white axle that's clearly behind the drive ring, which is connected to the white gear. See the white gear right there? And it makes it move. As you can also, maybe you can hear, I'm not sure, the engine is working. And yeah. Same thing with the front, but for different gear and everything else. So as you see, when I engage this to the front, the drive ring connects to the blue here, which was obviously driven by this gear. You see, this gray gear, it interacts with the blue gear, and when I'm in neutral, it doesn't do anything because, well, the blue gear is actually, the whole of it is like, it's a hole, it's not an axle, so it's not actually connected to the axle, but it would be if it was connected to the drive ring. So as I put this gear selector into forward, the whole thing interacts. The blue gear interacts with the drive ring because of the spokes. Can you see the lines right there? Maybe you can. I can move it to the middle. Yeah. Should be able to see that. And it interacts with the axle, and that's how the gear selector works. Okay, so this is the transmission part. So as you can see, this is the paddle shifters. When I get it here, it has an interesting system, a very interesting way of when you push the paddle, it rotates this weird thing, I don't know what it's called, this yellow, whatever, and it turns it 90 degrees, so that's the best part. And yeah, so I can actually show you, there's another part. So as you see, right now I'm shifting the paddles. See, notice this one, this other yellow thingy that's above my finger. Notice how on the 4th of every time I shift the paddle with using the paddle shifter, this one moves 1 rotation. See? 1, 2, 3, and then the 4th one, 4. As you can see again, 1, 2, 3, 4. There's actually another tiny gear bevel, whatever. It's right there, right above my finger, right next to the rubber band and the white knot. You see, every time I shift the paddle, goes 90 degrees. So yeah. Now, all this stuff is for what? Well, at this point I have to take it to the bottom of the whole thing to show you. So you see this drive ring that I zoomed in on. And you see the yellow thing that's above it. Well, right now I'm about to shift the pedals. There it is. Can you notice how every time I shift the paddle, the yellow thing rotates and it moves this one, you see? This drive thing. There are 4 of these drive rings moving around in the transmission, and all of this collaboration means a 16-speed transmission right here. So as you see, when I push the pedals, I move the yellow one, moves the yellow thing. There are a bunch of more of these. There are like 2 of these. There are 2 drive rings connected to one of these yellow things. And there are 2 separate of these. So imagine a set. This yellow thing and 2 drive rings, all moving at like different variations. That's how it works. And there's another set of these guys, and each time I switch the gears, it moves the drive ring. Now remember the gear selector, how when I move the drive ring it connected to the other gears, creating like this forward speeds and that stuff? It's kind of like that, except it's changing gear ratios, I believe. As you can see, now it's connecting to the blue gear. And now it's connecting to the drive ring. This is like 1 stud long. It's an extension of this gray drive ring, and it connects to that red gear, if you can see. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you can see. And there are like 4 of these drive rings connecting to different things, creating different gear ratios. So now we're on to the all-wheel drive system, and it all starts with one thing connected to the wheels. As you can see, this differential is made up of a few gears. Right here, 3 gears, all encased in one big piece of plastic. And this huge case, differential case, holds 3 inner gears. The top one and the bottom one facing each other are connected to the wheels. I'm moving the wheels right now, and as you see, they're moving itself. Now, this drive case also moves this gear, and that is connected to a drive shaft moving all along the body. See, it's just going to move all along the body, and yeah, it's going to connect to the front wheels with a different differential. That's how it all works, really. Now, if I move this thing, as you see, it's in a way that even when the wheel to the bottom isn't moving, this one still pushes this very important gear that's facing horizontal, or at least the axis it's connected to is facing horizontally. And yeah, so that is of course connected to part of the case. If I rotate the case, you can see it's connected to part of that. Yep, and as you see, if that gear moves, if the gear with the horizontal axis moves, then the case moves, which moves this thing connected to the drive shaft, which moves the other front differential. And that is how all-wheel drive works. Okay guys, our last part, the suspension. So as you can see, this is the Bugatti suspension. Here, this is part of the rear wheel, and it has a really nice grip with 2 shock absorbers, extra hard ones, connected to the wheel using a pretty standard double wishbone suspension. Now, how does this thing work? Why does it just go like that? Why doesn't the wheel tilt or anything? It just stays looking at you while it moves up and down and everything, even though these are making contact and everything. Well, I've made a tiny model myself. Made a very tiny model, and it's very basic. It's all just like this. As you can see, this is a basic form of a 4-bar linkage. Very simple. And as you can see, the thing can move up and down while the bar stays looking at you. That can be represented as the wheel here. Imagine this being that. Anyways, so as you see, this 4-bar linkage means that you can move up and down all the way you like without any problem. Now, a shock absorber, which will be, let's just have this white thing as a shock absorber represented. It's very simple. The shock absorber is right now holding on the linkage right here, and when you press up, that compresses the shock absorber and it wants to go down, all while this still keeps still. And yeah, so it's not a very standard issue. So we go ahead, put the 4 bars here, and yeah, that's basically it. With shock absorbers connecting from here to there, so when you squeeze it, squeezes the shock absorbers and wants to come back, and yeah, that's really how it is. I can go ahead and show you this represented in the real car to show you. So as you can see, there are the 2 bars, like in my picture. 2 bars right here that are moving, and there's an extension of this top bar which is connected to the shock absorbers, and when you press them up, very simple double wishbone, it stresses the shock absorbers and they push down again. Oh, break this, stay there. Good, so that would be all for today. I hope you guys liked this video explaining the mechanisms for and all of the Bugatti Chiron Lego Technic version.